Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today we are going to do WayV and figure out what this year has in store for them. And in the description below I will have the timestamps in case you want to jump around the different questions. And with all of that said, let's just start with the first question, which is, how is WayV doing right now? What is WayV's current energy? So we have Strength Reverse. Why not? You have the Two of Cups, Chariot Reverse, the Empress, the Nine of Wands Reverse, and I was gonna say the Emperor, but it's the Four of Pentacles. I want to point out that I've done a couple of group predictions already for this year, and a lot of groups have gotten the Strength card, reverse specifically. So I don't know, maybe it's my energy as I'm shuffling, or maybe that's just the energy that everyone has been taking. And I was wondering why could that be, and I was like, maybe everyone's just very tired. Maybe the transition from one year to the other has been one that I don't know. Actually, maybe the strength card reverse here just shows that a lot of groups have been very exhausted with just how the world is, or maybe themselves as individuals are going through this growth and these transformations that have caused them to just feel a bit discouraged, or feel a bit like their mood is a little bit low, or maybe things were just not as they had expected it, and because of that maybe not everyone is in like the best of moods. Anyway, but to talk about WayV's energy, the strength card reverse could show that many of them may feel a bit scared, or now I'm saying scared as in like there is something that they're hesitating in doing or wanting. There might be the sense of maybe they're being a little bit too aggressive with their approach on something, so they're taking a lot of action to make something happen. And WayV is one of those groups that I will constantly get that they were like eternally patient. Like I don't know what amount of earth energy the group has that they just somehow managed to just persist and survive in long periods of uncertainty. And I'm saying that because under SM during like the pandemic times, since WayV couldn't really promote in China, and they're mainly like a Chinese group, right? Like that's target audience that they're going for. Because of that whole thing that was happening, they couldn't really promote where they were aiming for, and because of that, I don't know, SM just seemed to like not really know what to do with them and not wanting to use them. And now I think they're getting a bit more work and they're getting a bit more attention by the company. And because of that, I do feel that maybe the group is going through this stage where right now they're like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how to feel about all of this work. I don't necessarily think that they're like not happy with it as much as it's like, okay, I am venturing into this new energy and I don't really know how to handle it. And I think this strength card reverse just kind of shows that many of them are trying to figure out how to take action but not put too much energy into it. I feel like I just rambled, but I hope that made sense. I hope that that kind of has some merit to it, and I'm not just like saying words for saying words. But the other thing about the strength card reverse is that I do feel that one thing that the group is trying to learn, or the energy that they're trying to embody, is one where they can relax again and be again in that very stable earthy energy where they're taking action, but not in a way where it feels desperate, or in a way where it's like anxious. And what I mean by that is like, oh, I have to do this, I have to get this done, or like I have to follow this process, I have to follow this journey, or I have to put all of this attention and all of this work in order to make sure I get results. So I hope that the group goes back to like that earthy energy that is like slow and steady wins the race, let's not give up, let's work hard, rather than this energy of like I have to do something. And I think it's like there's just a little shift that the group kind of has to go through to go back to a stable place. I'm not necessarily saying that the group is like completely a mess, as much as it's like just finding their center once again, finding alignment. Now we have the Two of Cups, so it feels like right now the group is getting along. The Two of Cups talks about union, it talks about emotional fulfillment when you are with somebody else. It's like balance as well and harmony. In this just makes me think that currently the group gets along. The group feels very comfortable with each other. They feel supported. They feel like there's an emotional safety net of sorts, meaning that they can talk about what bothers them, what makes them happy, and they can rely on each other. So the Two of Cups just shows that there's this sense of coming into union, coming together, and understanding each other, being there for each other, and that support, that emotional support that they're able to provide for each other is something that gives a lot of strength to the whole group. Is you might as well call it like the glue between them. Now we have the Chariot reverse. So the Chariot reverse just shows that one of two things. They're not going to places, or they haven't really made a direction, so they feel like they don't know where to go. The Chariot usually talks about someone that is very assertive, someone that feels very confident, very successful, very triumphant. And because of that energy of confidence, I was gonna say borderline arrogance. I don't know why. I usually don't see the Chariot like that, but those words came up. But someone that feels like I have everything, I can do it. But someone that is so assertive that because of that, they're able to decide this is the path that I'm gonna go down, and this is what I'm going to do. And because of that, they're able to just make a decision and go down the path, and being able to just lock in to a certain path makes it easier to just travel the distance, to just do what you have to do to get there. So the Chariot reverse makes me think that there's some of them that don't really know what they want to do, and the lack of goal makes it difficult for them to plan ahead and for them to start working on that future that they're visualizing. Well, that they haven't like fully settled on, but they're trying to visualize. And then some others of them may have an idea of where they want to go, what they want to do, but they don't really know how to go about making that happen. So let's say that some of them have like these long-term goals of like something that might be a bit challenging, like I want to be happy. Okay, now they have to think, what does happiness mean to them, what does it look like to them, and that will make it easier to start working towards having that type of mindset, something along those lines. So some people have their goal, they just don't know how to kind of go from point A to point B, and others of them don't know where they're headed, and because of that they can't really think of what journey or what path to take because they don't even know the destination. So that may be an issue that the group is going through. The other card that we have here is the Empress, which I always have to point out is one of my favorite cards in the Happy Tarot because she looks so cute. Now, one thing that I want to point out, we have Leo with Strength, we have Cancer with the Chariot, and we have Venus energy with the Empress. So with the Empress energy, we have Venus energy, meaning that there is this sense of trying to find the beauty of life, feeling beautiful, being charming. The Empress itself talks about abundance, it talks about fertility, and it talks about femininity as well. So being more of this receptive energy of analyzing the situation that you're in and accepting in the offers that life has to offer. So in this case, I feel like the group is in an energy where many of them feel very confident, feel very good about themselves. So the issue that the group has is not necessarily a personality issue, meaning that they're not going through this transformation of growth where they're like, who am I? How do I express myself? How should I think? Like they're not going through this process of self-knowing and self-worth. Like they have that down. With this Empress card, it shows like they know who they are. They know what works for them. They know what they like and where they're and like what they want to do in life. If anything, the issue that the group is going through based on the previous cards is more like a situational issue and more of like, okay, so what's next? It's like maybe they accomplish a goal and now they're figuring out what their next destination is. And that transition of trying to figure out the next goal could be where they're not struggling in a bad way, but more like, okay, so like let me plan my next steps. Anyway, but the Empress just shows that many of them feel very lucky, feel very good, feel like they are very abundant and that they can manifest anything. And they're in this stage where like they have all of this energy that I can shape in any way, shape, or form. And it's so malleable that I can move it to my benefit. If anything, one of the things that I'm getting with the Empress is that they know who they are, so they don't have to work on that. And the only thing that they have to work on is figuring out what they want to do in life. And one of the biggest issues that the group may be encountering is that they have a lot of potential, a lot of possibilities, and a lot of opportunities. So there's this energy of understanding what their power is, and also since they know who they are, they know all of the options that are available for them. And all of those infinite possibilities is not only something very positive, but also something that it takes some time to work through. And that could also be one of the reasons why the group may find it a bit difficult to kind of lock into one goal or to concentrate on like long-term goals, because it's like I can make anything happen. I have the power to do anything and everything I want. It's just a matter of figuring out what I want and then figuring out the steps, the stepping stones to make it happen, to make it a reality. The other card that we have right here is the Nine of Wands reverse. So the Nine of Wands usually talks about someone that has gone through pain, and that pain is something that makes someone be very cautious, very defensive, and kind of pull their walls up. But with this card being reversed, I do feel that the group doesn't really feel the need to be in that energy because they have a good support system. So even if they don't know where they're going and where they're headed and how they're going to go about it, it's not really a big issue because they have a good support system. So they are surrounded by people that remind them you don't have to have everything figured out. You can go on with life just experiencing it and going with the flow without a sense of purpose. Like it's okay to be in that feeling and those emotions. So there is a sense that even if there's some people that maybe don't really like to be in the limbo, they're surrounded by others that reassure them that things will get better and that it's okay to be in that energy. And because of that, it kind of centers those people. And in exchange, it makes a very balanced environment for the whole group in general. So this Nine of Wands reverse just shows that the group is doing pretty well, because even those that are not in a very comfortable place energy wise, they are in a secure place. And because of that, they have the safety, the security, and the freedom to not be okay, if that makes sense. You know how there's some people that when they're in survival mode, they can't afford to not be emotionally okay? It's like, I don't even have time to grieve. I don't have time to be sad. It's, you just kind of have to like quickly bounce back and get back to work. So I do feel that the group is in this state where they have a strong enough support system that they can rely on them and be reassured that they can mess up, or be reassured that they can feel empty. There's this sense of like the group has created a safe space for them to communicate when they're not okay, and therefore it's okay to not be okay. Which I do think that is a very healthy way of, and a very human way of dealing with issues and problems. Is like the group just acknowledging, yeah, we have those days when we don't know what we're doing. Yes, we have those times where we feel this uncertainty that almost consumes us, but we will be there for you. And that creates a very safe environment for people to be themselves and go through their journeys and then bounce back when they're ready. Because someone's out there to be like, okay, if someone actually reaches like a deep end, it's like, okay, time to get out of bed and let's go for a walk. Let's go like distress. Let's go and forget about this. You know, kind of like shift the energy when someone can't do it for themselves. So again, a good support system. That's what I'm getting at. Now we have the Four of Pentacles upright. So many of them may be saving money. Many of them are saving their resources. Many of them are very protective of what they treasure. It could be their career, it could be their material possessions. I want to say it could even be people. So that makes me think of like securing friendships, securing their home, securing the money, their finances, securing their job. There is a sense that the group really, they don't take for granted what they have because they know what it feels like when they don't have. For example, with their career, they know what it feels like to not be able to work. They know what it feels like to be kind of stuck in a company that is not giving you opportunities. So I do feel that this Four of Pentacles just shows that currently the group is holding very tightly to these opportunities, taking full advantage of the fact that there's resources available for them to work. Something along those lines. So I do feel that by taking Even if they don't know what they're doing or where they're headed, they're taking full advantage of the resources at their disposal, the finances that can support them, and by doing that, they're just taking full advantage all those opportunities to be able to do what they want to do with this Empress energy of manifesting their ideal life or manifesting their future or just making their manifestations a reality. So currently the group is doing well because even if when they're not doing okay, they have a safe space for them to kind of get back on their feet and like, bring themselves back into alignment. If anything, the strength card is just encouraging them to find the courage to take risks, find the courage to just try new things in their life, but also to not be too aggressive with their approach to accomplishing those goals. It's like they don't have to pressure themselves to go to places, they don't have to force themselves to get things done. It's just taking things one step at a time, going with the flow, filling themselves with confidence that everything will be okay, and just allowing opportunities to come into their life and then taking whichever is the best one for them. So, if anything, the biggest warning here is for them to not grow desperate if something doesn't work out. So, like that, they can continue making rational decisions going forward instead of having like this desperate energy of like this has to work. I need an opportunity, and it's more like okay, let's take a deep breath and one step at a time. So something so like that they don't take rushed decisions or be reckless, I guess. Okay, so let's go on to the second question, which is the group predictions. So, what's in store for WayV's career this 2025? We have new moon in Virgo with a time to give rather than take, and then we have a full moon in Virgo with you are good enough. So this both of these cards just makes me think of having a strong support system, a strong community, because one is like give to others rather than yourself, and the other one is you are good enough. So it's like know that you are valuable, know that you're worth it, know like don't take your good nature for granted. Those two cards coming together make me think of that. Also, I want to point out that in the Moonology deck we have two cards from each zodiac sign and then some extra moon faces, and we got both Virgo cards, so it definitely feels that Virgo is an energy of healing, an energy of routine, an energy of organization, of putting things into place, slow and steady work. All earth signs are about slow and steady. They're all about goal oriented mindsets and all about the grind as well. Like doing the stuff that other people don't want to do to get their work done. So Virgo energy is all about let's create a routine. Let's do the tedious responsibilities that have to get done or the tedious job that has to get done in order to accomplish something or to reach a goal. So this Virgo energy just kind of shows that in 2025 they're going to organize themselves. Also, Virgo energy is a sign of service. It is a sign of like let me help other people out, let me be of service to others. So I do feel that this year WayV is going to enter this phase where organizing themselves will be very beneficial. It will help them a lot. With this Virgo energy, this 2025, it seems like WayV is going to have a very packed schedule. There will be a lot of things that they have to do that may be a bit boring, tiresome, or tedious, but it has to be done for their work. Also, this Virgo energy is kind of showing that the group should take care of their health and watch out because of they might get a bit overworked this year. I don't think it will bother any of them, all the work that they have to do. It's just, they just have to take care of their bodies and of their minds to make sure that they can keep up with everything that has to be done. Again, we saw earlier with the Four of Pentacles that the group is very, very grateful for the opportunities that they have and that they don't take it for granted. If anything, they hold on to those opportunities very tightly. And because of that, I do hope that the group doesn't push themselves too much this year and they get the work done, of course, and that they keep a very healthy routine so that they can maintain their body can like survive all the work that they're going to have. So I do feel that either there's a lot of little things and little details that because Virgos are perfectionists, so I wonder if the group may have to look at like every single little detail if they want their work to get done, or maybe that's just a personality that they have, or maybe they're going to be working with perfectionists and because of that they have to do things over and over and over. I don't really know which one it could be, but regardless, there's a lot of work that has to get done, and it will get done well, and it will be pretty well organized if they themselves create a healthy routine for themselves. Because I can't guarantee that the company or staff will create a reasonable schedule for their work. It usually is not the case. It usually goes like it's super packed with a bunch of things to do at once, and that can be very tiresome. It almost feels like this new beginning or this new chapter in WayV's career is one filled with a lot of energy, a lot of intensity, and a lot of hard work that has to get done. But with all of that said, let's jump onto the third question, which is the individual career predictions. And I'll go in age order. So I'll start with Kun. And what is the start for Kun's career this 2025? We have Fury. One of the reasons why I think he might get angry a lot this year is because of the packed schedules. I think he may be a bit annoyed because the schedules may be so packed that transitioning from one schedule to another or one task to the other can be so tight that is probably something that is going to annoy him. Something that will anger him a lot this year is like things not going as planned or things happening unexpectedly. Because one thing that pretty much all earth signs hate is the unexpected. Because earth energy is one that loves to plan. It is one that has goals that are like 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now. So earth energy, Virgo is earth energy, by the way, but earth energy is one that loves to plan because they don't like to be surprised. They don't like the unexpected. They don't like change because earth energy is slow moving, it's steady, and it's one that every single day there's one step closer to their goals, to achieving great things in life. And I do feel that Kun, as a leader and also as an earth sign, because I think he's a Capricorn, he doesn't really like when people mess up with his plans. So if he sees the schedule and for whatever reason it doesn't go according to plan, it really bothers him. It really ticks him off because it's like, we planned this for a reason, so it doesn't work out is because of all these unexpected things that come up. But I also feel that he's a type of person that also plans for the unexpected. It's like, I'm leaving this wiggle room in case, the flights get delayed. Or I like to give this, have this wiggle room in case I need a little bit of a break between one schedule to the other. It's like he takes into consideration the worst case scenarios. And because of that, I think he will get angry at the fact that sometimes the unexpected does happen and he didn't plan for those unexpected things. Or maybe he'll just get angry at the fact that the company doesn't take into account if something doesn't go well and doesn't leave enough room for the flexibility and doesn't leave enough room to be flexible in case an issue does come up. And I think one of the reasons why he might get angry is that, let's say there's a schedule, and then because of transportation issues they can't make it to the next schedule, and because of that, depending on how late they can arrive to that schedule, they might end up missing it. And I think that's something we saw earlier, that the group holds very tightly to these opportunities. And because of that, I do feel that could really anger Kun. Is like, we had all of these activities planned, and because you accepted them without taking into consideration that something could go wrong, now we could miss this opportunity. Now this also makes me think, let's say that you have something scheduled that you schedule like months in advance. It's like, I'm gonna do this, and the only free time for it, or the only free space, is this month of this date. But then you have all this wiggle room beforehand, and you were like, let me accept this opportunity. Let me book it for this time and this other time. And then you don't even realize that you are cutting it very close to this other thing that you have been waiting for months. I do feel that that's some of the issues that the group may encounter, or Kun himself. Like, I don't know, maybe since we're talking about individual career things, it's like, it feels like he could also have some individual schedules that get interrupted because the company is like, we're gonna do a company concert, or we're gonna do a company dinner, or we're going to do this company event, and as a leader he kind of has to go, and then his individual schedules get interrupted, or his group schedules get interrupted. So something along the lines of scheduling that will anger him, or just coming into disagreements with the company. Now let's go on to the next person, which is 10, and figure out what is in store for 10's career this 2025. we have withdrawal and nightmare. Maybe insomnia. I'm getting like maybe this year 10 may struggle a lot sleeping, or he may struggle a lot with resting. There might be something about like it's maybe high anxiety, maybe I don't know. Okay, so with the withdrawal and nightmare, it feels like for 10th career this year, his health could be one of the things that can get in the way of his career, meaning he's not resting enough, so makes it hard for him to work, or he's very stressed and because of that he can't sleep well, or again that stress turns into anxiety, or since he's so stressed he has nightmares, and that nightmares cause him to not sleep well, and that constant lack of sleep could cause a bit of anxiety, and all of that just becomes an issue when he wants to work, because he can't do what he wants to do if his body is not in the best state. So the withdrawal and the nightmare just makes me think that he's going to go through this period where he's trying to let go of a very bad energy, or he's trying to overcompensate for the lack of something, and that lack of something, I don't know, it's like it's almost like there's something in Ten's life that went away, and it created this big gap or this big space that now he kind of have to like fill in again. And the fact that it's this very empty space, it gets, if he himself doesn't go out of his way to like fill up this space, then it can get filled up with all this negative energy, this anxiety energy of sorts. So I do feel that this 2025 10 will have to work very, very hard to stay balanced, to stay safe, to stay secure, in order for him to feel all of this positivity that will allow him to get rid of all this tension, all of this scary, anxious, overwhelming stress that we see in his cards. And by getting rid of that, it will make it easier for him to rest and maintain a healthy body, a healthy mindset, and maintain a healthy emotional state that will allow him to have more energy and be able to get all the work done that he wants to do. So those two cards just show that he might not have the best year when it comes to his personal side of things, and that could affect his career, and I think that's why that's coming up. Wait. Now let's go on to the next person, which is Win-Win, and figure out what's in store for Win-Win's career this 2025. Win-Win is still a part of WayV, right? I don't think he has left. He's just not working with them right now. That's why I'm including him, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so what's in store for Win-Win's career this 2025? He's definitely doing solo stuff, so this works. So we have apology. So maybe this 2025 things will not go as he expects it, or things will not go as he had planned, and that's why this apology card is coming up. Is like he may feel like he is at fault of something, or that he's guilty of something, and because of that he feels like the need to apologize. I don't know if this, like, there could be an issue or a scandal of sorts that he has to like kind of apologize for, or if he just feels like he's not doing something well, or he's not good enough, or he's not worth something. Like, I'm not worthy of this, I'm not worthy of that. Like, maybe he feels like things are too good to be true sometimes, and maybe that's why this apology card came up. Or maybe he just feels like he regrets something, or he feels a little bit guilty about something, and that's why the apology card is coming up. So in his career, he may encounter a lot of hiccups, in the sense of like maybe there's a lot of shortcomings that he feels responsible for. I don't know how much of it could actually be his responsibility, and how much of it could be just a lack of experience. So one of the things that I'm getting is, like, let's say he's acting in something and the scenes are not coming out the way that he wants them, or that he expects them, and because of that he feels very apologetic. It's like, I'm not good enough for this, I'm not good enough for that. Or he may feel like he's just wasting people's times, and it's not really his fault that his lack of experience in some things. Is like, sometimes you just have to, do some bad scenes before you can get to a good one. Sometimes you just kind of have to mess up before you figure out the best way to solve the issue and actually have a good shot. So I don't know if this is like small events where he feels apologetic, or if there might be a huge issue or scandal that he will have to kind of like put his face out there and be like, I take responsibility and here's my apology. So it seems like this year he may just not feel like he is adequate to do something, or like he may just have to kind of like solve an issue of sorts. But let's go on to the next person, which is no, Tajun. Yeah. So what is in store for Tajun's career? We have Daydream. So this year, Tajun is just going to be visualizing, imagining what he wants in life. So Daydream makes me think also of someone that is like thinking ahead, like, okay, I wish this, I wish for that. Like he's setting goals, he's setting aspirations, resolutions. He is already writing like, this year I'm going to accomplish this. This many years from now I want to have this. Like he's already visualizing that future and imagining it. And by doing that, it's a very good way of manifesting, because by visualizing your future, you're already like assuming that you have it, or you are already figuring out what you want, and that can definitely help you figure out what to plan for to make it happen, to make it a reality. So this daydream card just shows that Saljin at the moment is just staying optimistic, daydreaming, and just figuring out, he's going to his happy place. So whenever he's stressed or whenever he's overworked, he's already thinking like, okay, but this is going to help me achieve these other things that I want in life. Or he's already going like, okay, if I work very hard, I'm going to reward myself with a good rest, or I'm going to reward myself with a vacation, or I'm going to reward myself with this one thing I've always wanted. So I think he's just trying to stay positive. He's trying to uh, not get too stressed or overwhelmed with all the work that has to get done. And this daydream card could also be that he's just imagining the type of future that he wants for his life. And again, you remember how I talked about the chariot reverse and how some people don't really know what their goals are? Well, Sajun is of the few people that are already figuring out, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do, because he does have some goals that he wants to make a reality. Now let's go on to the next person and figure out what's in store for Henry's career this 2025. A bunch of cards came out. I just won one at least. A bunch of cards came out again, but let's continue shuffling. We have Origin. So the fact that a bunch of cards were coming out makes me think that there's a lot of things that are going to be going on in Henry's career. Like either he's going to be very busy, or there's a lot of things that he wants to do, or a lot of things are just going to happen that maybe he should be aware of. But it feels like it's like he will have bursts of being extremely busy. Like, oh, a lot of things are happening at once. Maybe he's going to go through these issues where like there's something going on in his social circles, there's something going on in his work, there's something going on with him. So all of that energy could like pile up and accumulate, and that can be a bit overwhelming. Or maybe he's super busy, like he has to be here, he has to be there, and he doesn't really have time for himself. So it seems like in his career he's going to be booked and busy. But this origin card, we have initiation, creativity, and vitality. So it feels like despite being very busy and despite a lot going on in his life, he's going to stay very positive. He's going to stay very energetic. He just sees all of this work as like little seeds that he's planting in order for them to bear fruit in the future, for him to reap the rewards of that in the future. This origin card just actually made me think of like origin story, or like, the the lore or the story that describes how someone grew to be who they are now. So the origin also makes me think of traditions. So maybe he is focusing on some traditions when it comes to his career. I don't know if it's like he's just thinking of how his routine and his schedules, or not schedules. He's thinking of his routine or his ancestors and how they used to do something, like the process of doing something or the process of completing something, or maybe some, I guess, family traditions that help him stay focused, grounded, and centered. Is like, do this if you feel stressed, or think this way when you feel overwhelmed, or something like that. But regardless, is Henry has a very good mindset and a very optimistic one as well that allows him to stay positive and also allows to lighten up the energy, and that makes it easier to just get all of this work done, because instead of dragging your feet because all of this work has to get done, he just gets filled with energy of like, we'll finish this quickly, we'll accomplish this, it's okay, well, we just have to do what has to get done. And instead of feeling all of this negativity of dragging his feet towards it, he kind of just bounces forward and jumps through all the hoops and obstacles and just continues running forward. So yeah, this origin card just shows that in his career, he's going to do well regardless of how busy he is. Or regardless of how overwhelmed he can get, he'll manage. He's just thinking of like, this is for my future. And that's all the motivation he needs to continue moving forward. Now let's go on to the last person, which is Janjan. So what's in store for Janjan's career this 2025? We have hesitation and riot. So I guess he may be hesitating a little bit to try new things, to initiating something, becoming group. Okay, with the right card, it makes me think of people that are like, they have to do something to be part of a group. So maybe audition to be part of a cast, or maybe creating a contract, some establishing some sort of contract, some sort of promise, some sort of like this concrete plan of sorts. So one of the things about Janjan this 2025 is that he's going to be very hesitant about making anything permanent. He's very hesitant with the promises that he makes, and he's going to be quite cautious, suspicious, analytical. I don't really know what the word could be, but like, this year Janjan is going to look very closely before making a decision. He's going to be very cautious. So this hesitation card just makes me think of someone that is very cautious when making a decision or when moving forward. So this 2025, Janjan is going to look at the opportunities that are being offered to him, and instead of just jumping into the first good opportunity, he's going to analyze them, look at them, maybe consult with his gut feeling and be like, how do we feel about this? A red flag or not? So I do feel this 2025, he's just going to observe very closely to see which opportunities are the best ones for him based on what he wants, and also thinking of the long term of things. So he's not going to be reckless this year. He's going to be very cautious. And that hesitation is one where he just wants to make sure that he's making the best decisions for himself in the best mindset possible, instead of a mindset of need and negativity that will tolerate the worst out there. Instead, being a very positive one that is like, I understand the difference between responsibilities and desires and wants. So that will make it easier for him to figure out what he wants, how he wants to go about it, and then seek the opportunity that best fits him and what he wants in life or his goals. So this two cards just makes me think that he's going to be very careful before signing contracts, and also very careful before compromising with anyone. Because the right card just makes me think about binding energy, and that's why I'm thinking of like contracts and promises. So with all of that said, let's jump on to the last question, which is any advice and healing messages that have to come through for WayV this 2025. Any advice and healing messages? We have Taurus energy with your dreams need a practical plan with full moon in Taurus, which again, this is just hinting back to the Chariot reverse. It's like making plans on which path will be the best one for them, and which process. It's like plan ahead so you know what to do in order to make your dreams come true. And I think that's why your dreams need a practical plan is here, especially for people like Saju, that he got like a lot of daydreaming. It's like, if he wants to make those dreams a reality, he has to kind of make a plan to make them happen. He can't just dream about them. So a form of manifestation is like, yeah, you're visualizing the future, but you also kind of have to do something about making the future a reality, and not just like sit there and daydream about it. So I'm not saying that he's the only one having this issue. It's just like that Taurus energy is saying, when you have the desire, the motivation, and the inspiration to make something happen, do something with it, make it happen. Maybe not necessarily make your manifestation a reality overnight, but more is like start working on what's necessary to make it a reality. And one of those first steps is to create a realistic plan or some smart goals. So, goals that can be measured in order for you to feel like you're making progress. That's what I mean. Also, Taurus energy is a slow and steady energy that is very stubborn with their approach or their way of doing things. But it is one. Taurus energy can also seem lazy to other people, but Taurus is just like slow and steady. So they're not pushing themselves to get stuff done. They just go with the flow. And part of that flow is creating plans to move forward. It's like, okay, I'm going to power through and do what I have to do to reach my goal. Also, with a waning moon, what do you need to release? It makes me think that there is a difference between being cautious and being hesitant or like resisting change. So I do feel that for the group, the bit of advice is like whenever they feel like they have to wait for something to happen, or whenever they feel hesitant when making a decision or doing something, it's like look deep within you to know what's holding you back. Is a situation holding you back? Is it outside of your control? Or if it's within their control, what can they do to get rid of anything that may be putting friction or restricting them from actually accomplishing their goals and their dreams? It's like just being aware of like if it's a way of thinking, so like their mentality, or maybe their time or their desires. It's like what's holding them back. It's like what are they afraid of, or what is getting in the way for them to just accomplish what they want to accomplish. Now let's take one more card for the advice and healing before we wrap up this reading. So any more advice or healing for WayV? We have conclusions are within reach. Okay. So if any of them are in the limbo for quite some time, as we see currently, that some of them don't really know where they're headed, or some of them don't know how to make their dreams a reality, and anyone that's going through a cycle, the conclusions are within reach makes me think of like they're finally going to have epiphanies or realizations on how to make their doubts go away. So like finally getting answers, finally getting the information that they needed to make something happen. It definitely feels here with the conclusion. It definitely feels here where the conclusions are within reach is that they're finally going to end some cycles and start new ones. They're finally going to start new journeys, try new things in their life. And this conclusion card just makes me think that they're finally getting the answers or the information that they needed, or they will finally get the opportunities that they were looking for. Again, the conclusions are within reach. Just make me think of the end of cycles. So learning the lessons that have to be learned, getting the information necessary for the new beginnings that they're going through, and just maybe even getting the opportunities that they always wanted, and that will kind of take off into the new journey that they're entering or the new chapters in their life. It definitely feels that conclusions are within reach. Just shows that any cycle that any of them are trying to close off will eventually get closed off, actually pretty soon. Or I don't know, it's like if any of them felt hopeless about something, the conclusions are within reach are kind of like encouraging them by reminding them that soon enough they're going to find their silver lining or their ray of hope, or they're still going to see like some sort of like space or a little bit of a thread that they can hold on to and get them out of that stagnant energy that some of them could be feeling in at the moment. It's like they will finally get like a hint or something that just kind of tells them, okay, this is the path or this is the opportunity you can take to finally take off into greater things in life. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this reading. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all the love and support you have shown me and the channel. And I hope that you find this reading entertaining or at least learn from it. I'll see you guys on the next one, whenever that is, however that is. I wish the best to WayV. I look forward to the music that they're going to take. And I don't really know how, like, if Win-Win is still part of WayV or not. I don't think I have read anything that says that he isn't. But he hasn't been promoting with them, and he's just been doing his own thing, which is like, go do your own thing. It's perfectly fine. Chase your dreams, make them happen. I just don't really know what's going on there, so just to be safe, I added him as part of the reading. And I really do hope that WayV just doesn't overwork themselves, and they take care of themselves, and that they rest a lot whenever they can, so they have all the energy necessary, and that they stay in alignment so that they can make good decisions. I was gonna say good informed decisions. So again, don't jump into conclusions, don't jump into contracts, don't jump into just the first opportunity that gets thrown at them. It's better to take their time so that they can choose the opportunity that fits them the best, rather than doing it from a place of need and desperation that can make them do maybe accepting opportunities that don't benefit them that well, or that will just take advantage of their talents or of their time. So something that will not be a waste of time, or even a waste of energy as well. Anyway, with all of that said, I will see you guys on the next one, whenever that is, however that is. Love and healing from my part to you, and bye.